Hello one and all, welcome back to yet another movie review, and this time I shall be reviewing First Blood, which came out in 1982. It is directed by Ted Kotcheff. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. And it of course stars Sylvester Stallone as John Rambo. And then it is composed by Jerry Goldsmith. Does a great job composing this movie. And this is the first film in the Rambo franchise. So guys, welcome to another classic movie review. I've chose this one in particular because since when Last Blood came out, I wanted to do a review on this movie in particular. We're almost 5 years later, and here we are. We're reviewing it at last. I recently picked up the 4K copy. It's next to the box set with the first 4 movies. I also have First Blood on 4K. Got it when I was away. And I'm so glad I have the 4K of it. It's so good. And so guys, this is going to be a full-on spoiler review. So if you've never seen First Blood, what are you doing? Get your ass out there and watch First Blood because it is so good. You've been warned. So, what I really like about First Blood is that with a lot of franchises, particularly the Rocky franchise, and yes, that's Sylvester Stallone, very similar to that franchise, First Blood starts off with a not so heavy action movie. Within the later films, they are pretty much full-on action movies. First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, and Rambo from 2008, the 4th film, which I might review at some point as well, actually. But with First Blood, what I think is handled so well, because the 70s and the 80s are still sort of kind of figuring out, how the action movies to be a good thing. Then, of course, when it came to Predator and Die Hard, action movies really started to be glorious then. This was just sort of, at the time, figuring out how big action movies can get. But with First Blood, it is definitely, as far as I'm concerned, an action thriller. This movie does not start or end with a big action scene. It begins with John Rambo walking with a green coat on along. Then he gets into a police car and then gets out of the police car, and then he gets in trouble for going his route. But even though he truly believes he hasn't done anything wrong, and so Hope Sheriff is sort of the villain of the movie, then arrests him and takes him to this area and starts hosing him. And what I love about the scene in particular is when you see the flashback. Whenever it starts zooming in, you really get the flashback moment, which I thought is handled extremely well. And I love how within 20 minutes of the movie, it starts to get into action. Rambo is taking out all these folks and then steals a motorbike and starts riding off. So technically speaking, throughout the movie, the police are after John Rambo, and I love this action scene on the motorbike. It is brilliant. It is so well made. It is so practical, something what movies now these days aren't anymore. You can really tell that Sylvester Stallone did a lot of this all by himself. Feels like he's doing the stunt work, especially whenever he's climbing on the wall and then sort of jumps into the forest. It's great. And you cannot forget the iconic shot where he's trying to stab the knife into Hope Sheriff, even though it doesn't really kill him yet. That is an iconic shot. The dialogue that Sylvester Stallone gives is just brilliant. This is also, at times, a very Oscar-worthy performance by Sylvester Stallone, particularly in the end of the film, which we'll get into in a little bit. this movie just, it is also very suspenseful. You know, it's not just an action movie, it's very suspenseful. It's also a thriller, you know. It's, as I said, it's an action thriller technically. Later in the movies, they're just, well, action movies, you know. You know, it's just, it's one of those movies where you just focus on character, because with franchises, you just sort of know them for what they are, but they turn out to be very either silly or cheesy, like within the couple of the Rambo sequels and the Rocky sequels, or if you look further, some of the James Bond films. But movies like Casino Royale, they seem to focus more on character. You know, James Bond is a human character, not a superhero. Rocky Balboa is like that as well, along with John Rambo. John Rambo is not a superhero. He's a human. He has emotion. You know, he's not constantly shirtless with a machine gun. At least in the next two movies, he is. You know. And I also love the character Sam Taryutuman. I can't pronounce names, I know. It's played by Richard Crenna. He's like the only person in the movie who's pretty much on John Rambo's side, you know, even though near the end of the movie he's sort of telling it, it's over, nothing's over, nothing. Again, I love the dialogue in the movie. But before all of that, I love the scene when John Rambo is riding on this truck. You know, that is a great scene. Then, of course, goes to the gas station, blows up the gas station. Again, as I said earlier, I wish there were more practical scenes in this movie. The way the gas station explodes is just brilliant. It is so excellent. And then, of course, you do have John Rambo head into the sheriff's station. Of course, he takes out Hope Sheriff. And then, as I said earlier, this movie does not end with a big action scene, or begins with a big action scene, does not end with a one-to-one fight or a massive explosion, even though it did earlier. You really see Rambo having a meltdown, and then he starts crying because he cannot get this images from the Vietnam War that he was involved out of his head. And just because a friend that he knows dies, and the character Sam in the movie, who's the only person who seems to care about Rambo, you can truly feel it as well. Because then again, the cops were pretty much after Rambo throughout the whole movie anyway. But not too many people know this, I don't think, but there is actually an alternative ending, which I believe the book had. Yes, this is based on a book, by the way. There's an alternative scene where they just kill John Rambo off. They just kill him off. I'm really glad that they chose the crying scene, because it really shows emotional scene that the movie is, and yet, you know, it just makes more sense to not kill him off and keep him alive, you know. But overall, guys, First Blood is such a great movie. It is definitely a 93-minute movie that gets you invested. And I love the score by Jerry Goldsmith. He's so good. He's one of the best composers of all time. He's so good throughout the movie, you know. the suspense vibe you get from the score is just really, really awesome. And you could say, I don't know if this is like the best action film ever made. I think there's other movies out there that I think deserve that title. Nothing against First Blood, of course. It is more of an action thriller, as I said. But it is definitely a movie that I would strongly recommend you watch if you haven't already. I did spoil the movie. But all in all, guys, First Blood is great, and I'm going to give it an A. There you go, guys. That was my review on First Blood. Comment down below. Let me know below what you guys think of First Blood. Let me know below in the comments. Where do you think of it amongst some of the later action movies they get, particularly in the 80s anyway? Let me know below in the comments. Let's have a great discussion down there. As always, if you're new to my channel, please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, share this video, and notify that bell before you leave. And as always, until my next video, I shall see you then, and peace. Not many people know I work out.